At my fiancé's company celebration party, everyone egged them on. Grace smiled and shared a deep kiss with her male friend, Marcus, for 3 seconds. Everyone stared at me, unblinking. In that moment, I became the clown of the celebration party. Marcus licked his lips, still wanting more. He looked at me with a hint of provocation. Then, he pointed at the 10-carat diamond ring I had given Grace and scoffed. "This fake diamond ring you gave Ms. Grace, I doubt even a dog would want it." A burst of laughter filled the private room. Grace said calmly, "Ethan, stick to what you can afford. Don't bother giving me rings like this again." Just then, Piper walked past the private room entrance. I gave the diamond ring to Piper. "Ethan, are you really giving it to me? Ethan, you're amazing. Ethan, let me give you a kiss." I never expected Piper to be so enthusiastic. She didn't care if the ring was real or fake. A wide, happy smile spread across her face. Then she gave me a fierce kiss on the cheek. I was taken aback. "Ethan, does it look good on me?" Piper linked her arm through mine and raised the hand with the ring on it for me to see. "You don't suspect it's fake?" I asked, a little confused. "I don't care if it's real or fake. As long as it looks good. Look how sparkly it is." Piper's words touched my heart. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Grace's face darken. Thinking of how she and Marcus had deliberately humiliated me, I asked Piper, "Do you have a boyfriend?" "No, I'm single. What do you think of me?" Piper looked me up and down. "A bit old. But, Ethan, you're quite handsome. Can I be your boyfriend?" "Sure." Piper agreed without hesitation, then tilted her head back and pecked my lips. Smash! Grace suddenly, angrily, threw her wine glass to the ground. Piper jumped in surprise. I put my arm around her shoulder. "It's okay, don't be scared." Piper nodded. "With here, I'm not scared." Grace's face was as dark as the bottom of a pot. "Ethan, what is the meaning of this? Don't forget, I'm your fiancé. Are you trying to deliberately embarrass me in front of everyone?" I glanced at her, shrugging. "If you can kiss your good friend, why can't I kiss someone else?" Grace scoffed. "Marcus worked tirelessly for the company to secure that project. He's the biggest contributor to this celebration party." Hearing that, I laughed. "He secures a project, and you have to kiss him. So, when he secures an even bigger project later, are you going to sleep with him?" The moment those words left my mouth, Grace instantly trembled with rage. All the company employees stared at me with wide eyes. No one expected me, who always obeyed Ms. Grace's every command, to actually dare to say something like that in public today. Just then, Marcus stepped forward and yelled at me, "Ethan, who do you think Ms. Grace is? I'll give you one chance. Apologize to Ms. Grace immediately. Otherwise, don't blame me for getting nasty." I glanced at Marcus and gave a cold smile. "Who do you think you are? You're nothing but a pathetic lapdog following her around. Who do you think you are?" Marcus froze for a moment. Then, his face flushed crimson. In enterprises, his status was second only to Grace's. I publicly called him a lapdog. It was equivalent to trampling and humiliating him. As a man, especially in front of the woman he loved, how could he possibly swallow such an insult? I saw him grab the beer bottle from the table and walk towards me with a menacing look. I had intended to shield Piper behind me. After all, this was between Marcus and me. She was innocent. It wouldn't be good if she got hurt by accident. Unexpectedly, before I could make a move, Piper actually stepped forward and stood in front of me. "Hey, what do you think you're doing? You want to hit my boyfriend? I'll call my crew to deal with you." I stared, dumbfounded, at Piper, who was shielding me. Actually, my offer to be her boyfriend was partly out of spite. But I didn't expect her to be so brave, completely unafraid in the face of danger. Wasn't this far better than Grace, who treated me like a clown? Marcus stopped. He stared at me with cold eyes, gritting his teeth. "Ethan, if you're a man, step out and fight me one-on-one. What kind of man hides behind a little girl?" I moved my lips, about to speak. Piper took another step forward. She loudly told Marcus, "You want to hit my boyfriend? Then you'll have to go through me first." She paused. Piper turned her head and smiled at me. "Don't be scared, Ethan. I'll protect you. He wouldn't dare hit you." Looking at her, I felt protected for the first time. Then, I smiled and nodded. "All right, I'm counting on you." The people in the private room stared at me, dumbfounded. They'd never seen someone so shameless. A grown man needing protection from a little girl. Marcus squinted, ignoring Piper. He sneered at me and asked, "Ethan, can you stop being such a coward? You dared to insult my boyfriend. You just wait." Piper glared fiercely at Marcus. Then, she pulled out her phone from her small purse and made a call. She said someone was trying to hit me and mentioned the private room number. In less than half a minute, 7 or 8 members of Piper's crew appeared in the hallway. Heavily tattooed, dressed in street-style fashion. "Pipes, who's trying to hit you?" the leader of Piper's crew asked with a dark expression. "Him." Piper pointed at Marcus. "Alright, guys, get him." In a flash, Piper's crew, without asking for details, swarmed him without hesitation. Marcus was immediately pinned to the ground and beaten by them. "Enough!" Grace roared in anger. But's crew didn't listen to her at all. "Ethan, tell them to stop quickly. If anything happens to Marcus, none of you will get away with it." I was also worried these young people might hit too hard, so I had Piper tell them to stop. Grace helped the bruised and swollen Marcus up from the ground. Marcus yelled at me, "Damn it, you want to play GA? MES, do you? You just wait." Marcus was also about to make a call to bring in more people, but stopped him. "Tell them to leave. I have something to say to you," Grace said coldly. After's crew left, Grace's gaze fell on Piper. "You leave too." "I'm not leaving. Wherever is, that's where I'll be." Piper held onto my arm tightly. "He's my fiancé. What does our business have to do with an outsider like you?" Piper turned her head to look at me. "Ethan, do you want me to leave?" "No need to leave," I said with a faint smile. Piper looked back at Grace. She stuck out her tongue and sneered, "You old hag, did you hear that? My boyfriend doesn't want me to leave." Grace heard Piper's choice of words for her. Her face instantly darkened. "Damn it, who are you calling an old hag? Do you believe I'll rip your mouth apart?" Marcus glared at Piper with murderous intent. Piper looked at him without the slightest fear. "Do you want another taste of being beaten up? You." Marcus was so enraged he almost spat blood on the spot. Seeing silenced, I let out a chuckle. This was indeed unruly. Grace, with a dark expression, said coldly, "Ethan, don't say I didn't warn you. If you insist on getting involved with this common Piper, then I'll have no choice but to call off our engagement." "You old hag, who are you calling common? Do you want to compare?" Piper never took any insults. Hearing belittle her, she immediately retorted, and even deliberately puffed out her chest. Everyone can see clearly. When it came to physical attributes, don't let Piper's young age fool you. She was well developed and clearly superior. This made Grace feel utterly humiliated. Her mouth twitched, and her eyes turned icy cold. She suppressed her anger and didn't argue with Piper. "I'll give you one chance. Tell her to leave. And apologize to me. Otherwise, I will never forgive you." The company employees, including Marcus and Grace herself, all believed I would eventually back down and admit my mistake. AF. All, drama aside, what man would be willing to let go? Before I could speak, Marcus, trying to provoke me, pointed at Piper and yelled, "Tell her to get lost right now. Then kneel and offer a humble apology to Ms. Grace." Grace frowned slightly. She just wanted me to apologize, not for me to kneel, but had already said it, so she could only implicitly agree. Piper looked at me. "Ethan, do you want me to leave?" I shook my head and said, "No need." "Ethan." Grace gritted her teeth. "You want to call off the engagement, don't you? I'll grant your wish. From this moment on, you are no longer my fiancé." Grace stared at me, her face full of disbelief. She never dreamed that she would actually lose to some Piper who appeared out of nowhere. A girl like her, with such low taste, any man would be drawn to her. "Do you have any idea how disreputable she is? You, for a woman like that, are willing to break off our engagement? Are you really sure about this?" Grace frowned deeply, asking coldly, "Before you call others dirty, you should ask yourself how blameless you are." I glanced at her and Marcus. "Ethan, you will regret this. It'll be useless even if you come begging me later." Grace's voice was icily cold. I just smiled calmly, ignoring her. Immediately after, I dialed a number in front of everyone. "This is Ethan. From this moment on, cancel all cooperation with Vance. I want Vance to go bankrupt." The scene instantly fell silent. Everyone looked at me in disbelief. A moment later, Marcus suddenly burst out laughing. He said mockingly, with a tone full of derision, "Ethan, I really overestimated you before. Who do you think you are? You think you can bring down Vance with a pretentious phone call? What can you do besides putting on a show? I really don't know what Ms. Grace's grandfather ever saw in you." Speaking of this, he got a little angry. He had always been pursuing Grace. His family background wasn't bad, just slightly inferior compared to the family. But even so, Grace's grandfather still looked down on him, preferring to instruct his granddaughter to marry a good-for-nothing before he died rather than accept him. Cough, cough. Grace used a cough to remind Marcus to watch his words. Only then did Marcus realize he had accidentally said something wrong out of anger. "I'm sorry, Ms. Grace, I didn't mean to." Marcus was afraid Grace would be displeased, so he quickly apologized. Grace didn't bother arguing with Marcus. She stared at me, a cold sneer playing on her lips, and said frostily, "You may not be ashamed, but I'm ashamed for you." I knew no one would believe a single phone call from me could make Vance go bankrupt. I couldn't be bothered to explain to them. Just wait and see. I took Piper's hand and walked out. "Ethan, you will regret this." Grace's chilling voice came from behind me. Her fiancé openly walking away with some Piper. For her, it was an utter disgrace. "You're the one who will regret it. Absolutely not me." After leaving those resolute words, Piper and I left the private room. I was originally going to explain to her, but to my surprise, she spoke first. "My name is Piper. My friends all call me Pipes. From now on, you don't have a fiancé anymore." "Ethan, is your name Ethan?" I nodded. "Then from now on, Ethan is my boyfriend." My friends are in the private room down the hall. I'll take you over to meet them. After arriving at the private room, Piper's crew were all there. The food was already on the table, but they were clearly waiting for Pipes to start eating with them. Pipes linked her arm through mine and introduced me to her friends with great pride. "This is my boyfriend. His name is Ethan." After introduced me, she then showed off the big diamond ring on her hand to her friends. No one said the ring was fake, instead, they kept praising how beautiful it was. After said I was the one who gave her the ring, they all gave me a thumbs up, praising how good I was too. Pipes. Afterwards, under their enthusiastic flattery, I barely ate a few bites and was almost drunk. I called the waiter over to settle the bill and then had Piper's friends each pack a king to take home. Piper's crew all praised me for being amazing. The bill came to over $10,000. Just for them beating up Marcus, this bill was well worth it. As we left after dinner, Grace stood at the entrance, her face cold and her arms crossed. Seeing a group of people helping me out, she scoffed, "Spending over $10,000 in one go, you must have blown several years of savings, right?" I lifted my eyelids, glanced at her, and sneered, "What's it to you?" Grace's face hardened. "Apologize to me now, beg for my forgiveness. I might even consider it." I looked at her with amusement. Grace pulled a bank card from her bag. "There's $50,000 on this card. Say, 'I'm sorry, I was wrong,' and this money is yours." Before I could speak, Pipe suddenly let go of my hand and walked forward. A flicker of disappointment crossed my eyes. Sure enough, for a young girl around Pipes's age, the temptation of money had a powerful pull. Few could resist such a temptation. Pipes walked forward and snatched the bank card from Grace's hand. A hint of disdain flashed in Grace's eyes, her gaze was full of scorn and mockery. However, the next second, Pipes forcefully snapped the bank card in half and threw it to the ground. Then she jumped on it, stomping on it several times. Her actions instantly stunned both Grace and me, but her friends cheered wildly. "You old hag. Don't think you're so great just because you have a few dirty dollars. We may be poor, but we have dignity. Even if I have to work odd jobs, I'll support my boyfriend. We don't care for your filthy money." After finishing her rant, Pipes came back to my side and helped me leave. As we passed Grace, Pipes even spat contemptuously. "You're still an old hag, even with money." These words instantly made Grace's face darken. She moved her lips, but ultimately said nothing. Her inherent pride and ingrained manners. What if someone with an agenda posted it online, saying that the dignified CEO of Vance was bullying a young girl? It would create an extremely bad negative impact on Vance. "Don't come pleading me later." Grace angrily turned and got into her car, driving away. That night, Pipes dragged me and her friends to karaoke. I didn't know how much I'd had to drink. Anyway, I vaguely fell asleep. When I woke up, it was already the next morning. There was also a woman lying next to me. I took a closer look. "Pipes." I threw back the covers and looked. Damn it, I was instantly dumbfounded. I wasn't wearing anything. Neither was Pipes. My action of throwing back the covers woke the sleeping Pipes. She opened her eyes, first smiled at me, then sweetly called out Ethan. Then she rolled over and lay on my chest. I was just about to move when she suddenly said, "Ethan, can you not move?" I didn't speak. "Just for 1 minute." "Okay." Neither of us spoke again. Soon, the minute was up. Pipes, true to her word, sat up and quietly began to get dressed. After she was dressed, she walked straight towards the door. Suddenly, she stopped, then turned back. She kissed me on the cheek. "Ethan, I don't regret what happened last night. Thank you. You made me feel what love is. Though brief, I'll always remember it." I stared at her blankly. This time she left very decisively. It wasn't until I heard the door close that I came back to my senses. I quickly got dressed and ran out to chase her, but I was too late. I returned to the room and immediately saw the diamond ring on the table. I don't know why, but my heart was faintly aching. Originally, I just wanted to give them a taste of their own medicine. To treat Grace exactly as she had treated me. But I seemed to have unintentionally hurt a young girl. Just then, knock, 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 urgent knocking came from the door. I thought it was Pipes coming back. I hurried over and opened the door, but the person standing outside wasn't Pipes. It was Grace and her family. Marcus was there too. Grace wanted to say something. I wasn't interested in listening and was about to close the door. She suddenly stepped forward, blocking the door with her body, preventing me from closing it. Ethan, let's talk for a moment. Grace stared at me intently. I just woke up, I don't have time for you. I turned and went to the bathroom. I dawdled for nearly an hour. The family, including Marcus, all stood quietly in the room, waiting for me. When they saw me come out, Grace immediately stepped forward. Can we talk now? About enterprises? I asked, raising an eyebrow. Yes. Grace nodded emphatically. She hadn't even had time to go to the office after waking up. Dozens of calls had come in. People from the company reported to her in a panic. First thing this morning, all suppliers, as if by prior arrangement, had unilaterally terminated their contracts with Vance. Several important shareholders also demanded to withdraw their investments. The crucial thing was, even people from the bank had personally shown up, demanding that Vance immediately repay all its loans. Actually, supplier terminations and shareholder withdrawals weren't that bad. These weren't fatal. They could just find new suppliers and shareholders. But the bank demanding repayment was the most fatal. Once the company's capital chain broke, generations of effort by the Vance family would instantly vanish into thin air. Only then did she remember the call I had made yesterday, to make Vance go bankrupt. Initially, her and Marcus's thoughts were aligned. They thought I was an idiot. Who was I, after all? How could a single phone call make Vance go bankrupt? But the anomalies early today had hit her like a thunderbolt. To figure out what was going on, after she used her connections to find the hotel I was staying at, she immediately brought people over. Alright, let's talk. I lit a cigarette and stretched. Who exactly are you? Hearing's question, I sneered. I'm Ethan. I'm not asking your name. I'm asking about your identity. Before, she never understood why her grandfather had specifically instructed her on his deathbed that she must marry me. After this incident, even without truly knowing who I was, she could faintly sense her grandfather's earnest intentions. Just an ordinary commoner. I grinned. Grace was startled. She knew I was still angry about yesterday. She turned her head and gave Marcus a look. Marcus, even though he was very reluctant, still stepped forward and came before me. Ethan, I'm sorry. My joke went too far at the celebration party yesterday. I shouldn't have taken advantage of my favored position and egged everyone on, and I certainly shouldn't have let Ms. Grace kiss me. I won't do it again. I hope you can forgive me. After bowed and apologized, Grace's parents then gave Marcus a thorough scolding. Margaret saw that I still seemed unwilling to forgive Marcus, so she started scratching and clawing at Marcus. Marcus didn't dare to dodge until his face was covered in scratch marks. Only then did Margaret look at me and ask, future son-in-law, has your anger subsided? If not, I can continue. Looking at Margaret, whose attitude had completely reversed, I smiled and shook my head. Before, not only Marcus but also Grace's parents had sneered at me. Grace's parents were the same, they utterly looked down on me. Now that they knew what I was capable of, they rushed to curry favor with me. People like that, I despised them from the bottom of my heart. Alright, I'll continue. Margaret didn't hold back with Marcus. It had been agreed before they came, no matter what, no matter the cost, Vance must be saved. So she struck Marcus even harder. His face was almost disfigured by scratches. William also started punching and kicking Marcus. Grace saw Marcus, covered in blood, not King is sound. She asked with a touch of reluctance, Ethan, look at Marcus, my parents have beaten him to this state. No matter how angry you are, you should be satisfied by now, shouldn't you? Hearing that, I scoffed and shrugged. Your parents want to hit him, it's not like I asked them to. Even if they beat him to death, what does it have to do with me? Grace's face changed. You. Fine. I'll beat this animal to death today. William didn't want Vance to be ruined in his generation's hands. He furiously grabbed a chair and swung it hard at Marcus. Marcus saw that William was serious. Why would he foolishly stand there and let himself be beaten? He dodged out of the way and then kicked Margaret away. You dare hit my wife? I'll kill you, you bastard. William furiously charged at Marcus. Marcus, being younger and agile, soon had William spinning in circles. Immediately after, he took advantage of William's inability to dodge and kicked him to the ground. Marcus, what are you doing? Grace saw that Marcus dared to lay hands on her parents, and she immediately let out a sharp cry. Humph. It was all agreed upon before we came, as long as I apologized, a few hits would be fine. But your dad actually wanted to kill me. They were ruthless towards me, so don't blame me. A cruel glint flashed in Marcus's eyes. He took advantage of William not yet being able to stand up and repeatedly punched him in the face. In the blink of an eye, he beat him unconscious. Marcus, stop. Grace roared furiously. Marcus was in a fit of rage. How could he listen? You little punk, are you trying to rebel? Margaret yelled at Marcus. Marcus turned to look at Margaret. Then, he walked towards Margaret with a menacing expression. You. What do you want to do? Margaret's face turned pale, and she retreated in fear. Marcus lunged forward and grabbed Margaret's hair. Let go of me. In your eyes, I'm not even as good as a pile of dog crap. You die too. Marcus's other hand gripped Margaret's throat tightly. Years of resentment, and hatred for Grace's parents, all unleashed in that moment. Stop it. Grace saw Marcus going berserk. Terrified, she rushed over, trying to save her mother. But just as she grabbed Marcus's arm, Marcus delivered a backhand punch to Grace's nose. Grace ignored the searing pain. She held Marcus in a death grip. Let go of my mom. You forced me. Years ago, your mom, that old hag, mocked me, saying I wasn't good enough for you. She even said I was a piece of dog crap trying to climb the social ladder. I heard everything she said. Marcus's eyes flashed with fierce light, his face full of cruelty. He squeezed Margaret's neck tightly with one hand and said chillingly, I thought if I worked tirelessly to build Vance, your mom, that bitch, would slowly change her opinion of me. But even though I worked tirelessly, and my body was worn out, she still held a prejudice against me. Grace, don't think I don't know. You told your mom that a pathetic lapdog like me would sell his life for the Vance family just for a little sweet talk. You're right, I was willing to give my life for you, but I'm not a goddamn dog. I just loved you. By the end, Marcus's expression became increasingly frantic. Margaret struggled desperately, being choked by him. Grace saw her mother was about to run out of breath. She suddenly remembered there was still someone else next to her, so she abruptly turned her head and looked at me. Ethan, Marcus has gone mad. I'm begging you, please save my mom quickly. Tears streamed down Grace's face. Her only hope now was me. Only I could stop Marcus. She had thought that given our past relationship, even if I was displeased, in such a life and death critical moment, I would definitely step in to save her. But my indifferent reaction left her utterly desperate. This is your family's affair. It's not appropriate for me to interfere. Having said that, I even deliberately took 2 steps back. Ethan, how can you be so artless? My mom is dying. Even if you hate me fiercely, that's between you and me. Please, save my mom, okay? Grace, her face covered in tears, pleaded with me. The only person who could save her mother now was me. She placed all her hope in me. Before I could speak, Marcus looked at me menacingly. Ethan, this has nothing to do with you. This is my grievance with them. If you dare interfere with me, I'll kill you too. Hearing that, I quickly waved my hand, explaining, don't misunderstand. I won't interfere with you. Just kill her quickly. After heard what I said, she looked at me with disbelief and despair. She never dreamed that I could be so utterly heartless. Ethan, you're so cruel. Grace said that, knowing that continuing to beg me would be futile. She simply hugged Marcus tightly, then opened her mouth and bit Marcus's shoulder. Marcus cried out in pain and released his grip. Margaret, at the last moment, finally managed to breathe. She fell to the ground, her face pale, gasping for air repeatedly. She was fine. But her daughter was in deep trouble. Marcus turned and grabbed Grace by the hair. As much as Marcus had once loved Grace, that's how much he hated her now. You bitch. I've been by your side since childhood. No matter what danger you faced, I would always protect you first. Even if you asked for my life, I'd give it to you. But in your heart, you always treated me like a dog you could beckon and dismiss at will. Today I'll show you how terrifying a mad dog can be. Marcus wasn't thinking of killing Grace. Instead, he forcefully tore Grace's clothes. When large areas of her pale skin were exposed, Marcus's eyes became even more frenzied. He violently pushed Grace to the ground. Then he got on top of her. Marcus, you animal. Let go of me. Grace struggled with all her might. But how could her strength compare to Marcus's? Even if she struggled with her life, she simply couldn't break free. She could only let Marcus wantonly assault her. Get off me! Marcus swung his fist at Margaret, who was trying to interfere from behind. Thud, the punch landed on Margaret's face. Because punched in a fit of rage, the force was immense. Margaret was immediately knocked unconscious by his punch. Mom! Grace screamed hoarsely. But the next second, the rest of her words were choked off because Marcus had already begun the most violating act. You bitch! You don't treat me like a human being. I'll be an animal for you to see. Ha ha ha. Marcus, acting like a madman, had long since lost his mind. He didn't think about the cost or consequences of his actions. He just wanted to unleash all his grievances and fury. However, at this moment, Grace suddenly stopped struggling. Instead, she let Marcus continue his actions on her. Her tear-filled eyes, like a nail, were fixed on me. Although she didn't say a word, I could tell from her eyes, she didn't hate Marcus. Instead, she hated me to the bone. Just then, Pipes suddenly returned. She ran into the room. Ethan, I forgot to grab something, Pipes didn't finish her sentence. Her gaze was fixed, shocked, on the shocking scene in the room. Grace, being violated, bit her lip fiercely, staring at me. Blood trickled from her bitten lip. She didn't make a sound. Ethan, what's going on? Pipes jogged over and asked me. Nothing. They like an audience, you can't stop them. By the way, what did you forget? Pipes glanced at Marcus and Grace. Mooting under her breath, how bizarre. Then, she pointed at the diamond ring on the table. Ethan, the diamond ring you gave me. I forgot to take it. Can I take it with me? I was slightly startled. Could it be? She realized the ring was real? If I can't take it, that's fine, Pipes said. It's fine, I gave it to you, it's yours. Wait for me. I walked over, picked up the diamond ring, and handed it to Piper. Piper happily accepted it. You like a fake diamond ring? I asked, curious. Whether it's real or fake doesn't matter. Piper replied. As long as Ethan gave it to me, even if it's just a plastic ring, I'd cherish it. Chapter 13. Seeing the genuine smile on Piper's face, I couldn't help but touch her cheek. You're too easily pleased. Hee, it's a gift. I don't care about the value. It's all about who gave it. Bye, Ethan. Piper turned to leave. Suddenly, as if compelled, I grabbed her hand. Ethan, is there something else? Will you marry me? Piper paused, then happily stood on tiptoe and kissed me on the lips. Even though I know you're just teasing me, I'm still very happy. I pulled her into my arms. I'm serious. I want to marry you. I admit, I was a little impulsive at that moment, but I couldn't deny her sincerity and genuine heart had truly moved me. Ethan, are you serious? Yes. If you say yes, we'll get married right away. Piper was about to say something more when I simply kissed her. A moment later, Piper's body went soft as she leaned into my embrace. As long as Ethan likes it, I'm willing to marry Ethan. Not long after, the police burst into the room and took Marcus away. I said it wasn't my business, but I still reported it to the police for Grace. I didn't do it for Grace, it was simply to repay her grandfather's past trust in me. Afterward, Marcus was sentenced. Dance went bankrupt. A video of Grace being assaulted was posted online. From the video's angle, it must have been captured by the surveillance camera in the hotel hallway. From then on, Grace disappeared without a trace. No one knew where she went. Sometime later, I brought Piper home. Although her family background was vastly different from mine, with my persistence, the elders in my family finally agreed. We held a lavish wedding at the grandest hotel. That night, as Piper and I were celebrating our wedding night, I received a text message. Ethan, I hate you. I hope you never find happiness in this life. I'll haunt you even as a ghost. A few days later, someone fishing by the lake side discovered Grace's body. When I saw this news, Piper and I were on a private jet, heading to Bali for our honeymoon. Thank you for listening to today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.